In Washington, House Republicans are meeting regarding the impeachment inquiry into President Biden. Last night, the president made his first remarks about the investigation, brushing off concerns. CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion is following all of this from Capitol Hill. So we know that House Republicans, Nikole, are having a meeting this morning. What do we know about this meeting?
Well, this meeting has been on the books and was basically expected to be an update on the GOP investigations into President Biden's son and some of his business associates and their business dealings. At the end of the day, that's kind of really what these GOP investigations writ large have focused on. But obviously now with this impeachment inquiry, it kind of gives them the green light to move forward and be even more aggressive in their oversight and investigation. So today is really about providing members with an update. Oversight Chairman James Comer, as well as Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, both of whom have been tasked with leading this impeachment inquiry, are updating members as we speak. Comer told reporters a short time ago that he believes everybody is on board with this inquiry. So it's really about kind of updating members on the status of their investigation. We saw both of these chairs also brief members of the Senate yesterday.
So the president was asked about this inquiry, sort of brushed it off and said, hey, listen, I'm focused on what the American people are focused on, not on this stuff. But as I understand it, the White House has been kind of sending out messaging, kind of responding to it, even if the president doesn't want to.
Yeah, well, they continue to insist that there is no evidence of wrongdoing by the president after all of these months of investigation. And as the White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre put it yesterday, she believes a lot of these claims, and the White House believes a lot of these claims are baseless and that this is a political stunt. Of course, you're looking at the president's quote there, which he made during a campaign event where he said, I don't know quite why they just knew they wanted to impeach me. And now the best I can tell, they want to impeach me because they want to shut down the government. So, of course, this being the first time that we're hearing directly from President Biden on this, we know that today he is expected to talk more about the economy, his so-called Bidenomics plan that he has been touting for the last couple of weeks now. He will do that here just outside of Washington. So certainly the White House really wants to keep him focused on his agenda, but at the same time being forced to respond to this inquiry as well.
So, when making the case for opening this impeachment inquiry into President Biden, Republican lawmakers have pointed to the probe into Biden's son, Hunter. Where do things stand with that investigation?
Yeah, well, basically what many House Republicans allege is that they believe that, for instance, Hunter Biden and his role with this Ukrainian energy company, that he kind of used his status, used the affiliation with his father to try to not only get business, but also that not only Hunter, but members of the president's family, his associates, kind of tried to use him to their financial advantage as far as trying to conduct business deals overseas. So that really is the concern that many Republicans have. And so, of course, they've been going through bank records. They want more. They want additional testimony and the like. And so that's kind of the status of some of the Republican-led investigations here on Capitol Hill. Obviously, we know Hunter Biden is also entangled in court challenge right now and a court case with respect to his own dealings, with respect to his taxes, with respect to potential gun charges. So that process also continues to work itself out through the Department of Justice and, of course, through a special counsel who was recently appointed to oversee the investigation into Hunter Biden.
And I think, Nikole, we should clarify, right, that there's been an ongoing investigation. They haven't found anything to indicate that President Biden, when vice president, not as president, but when vice president, that there were any sort of shenanigans or shady dealings or whatever. Now, I know the argument is the inquiry will allow them to continue to investigate or maybe dig a little deeper, but thus far, there's been no connection made.
Well, right, and that continues to be the White House line on that there is no evidence of wrongdoing on the part of the president. Republicans, though, feel that they have obtained enough evidence to this point that it does merit further investigation, and that's why you saw that impeachment inquiry launched earlier this week.
And so, of course, once again, we find ourselves looking at the possibility of a government shutdown, which is what kind of makes this also particularly concerning, that this is a time when lawmakers really should be focused on negotiating, figuring out how to keep the government open.
That's right. And right now, that's really in question. I mean, I think all you have to do is look at the House yesterday when they couldn't muster the votes to move forward on a defense appropriations bill. And this was just a rule to advance debate on this bill. And as you know, right now, lawmakers in both chambers are trying to work through a series of appropriations bills as part of that debt limit deal that was secured during the spring. There was this agreement to move forward with regular order and to try to pass these 12 appropriations bills, which is pretty standard, but it seems unlikely that they can do that all in this month of September, although they are starting that process. But that being said, that is why leaders both in the Senate and the House have proposed a short-term spending bill just to allow them more time to work on those bigger appropriations bills. But even that potentially is in jeopardy simply because there's disagreement on what should be included in that stopgap measure. So, there's that fight, and then there's the larger fight over spending overall with some of these appropriations bills, and that's one of the reasons why that defense bill couldn't get to the House floor yesterday. So we'll see what happens there.
We'll see what happens. Nikole, thank you.
You bet.